Welcome back to Mindset Mastery Moments. In this second part of Dr. Alisa Whyte's insightful conversation with Carl Shawn Watkins, we continue exploring how vulnerability, resilience, and authenticity shape impactful leadership. Today, Carl shares the profound influence of his family's legacy, his philosophy of community and mentorship, and the importance of being true to oneself in personal and professional life. Get ready for an inspiring session filled with practical strategies and timeless wisdom that will resonate with leaders in every field. And now, let's dive into part 2 with Dr. Alisa Whyte and Carl Shawn Watkins.
Welcome back to Mindset Mastery Moments with the legendary ambassador, Carl Shawn Watkins. We've been here having a profound conversation about Carl's power, his teaching on the power of vulnerability in life and in leadership. And again, I believe his perspective is the same as mine. If we empower an individual, we've absolutely empowered a leader, and it always starts from you, the leader inside of the ship, right? So now we're going to go into flip the script, Carl, where you get to share some moments when you had to flip the script of your own life. And so you've given us tons already. And of course, we are the nosy people to get into your mindset, see what we can learn. So could you share a time when your vulnerability absolutely played a role in pivoting your life? And how, when you embrace that change, it really changed the trajectory altogether of your life? I mean, you give this one, but I'm pretty sure there's another one.
Yeah, that's the one that embarked on my professional career, but there's always the personal ones, sitting at the feet of grandma and grandpa and hearing the stories and not only hearing the stories, embodying them. Like I'm such a visual person, and I can kind of like what we call in the church eye of faith. I can kind of see things when someone tells me a story or they shares a story of themselves. I can kind of like envision that. And I thought about the times of them growing up in slavery and my great grandparents and being in slaves, and my grandparents and them coming up to moving to Chicago on the end of, the 30s, 40s, and being in that time in the 60s and with King. And there's so much richness in them overcoming adversity than there could ever be in my time here. And I say that to not discount what someone is going through. Right. But a lot of times we give our circumstances power that they don't really necessarily have.
Come on.
We let them have power over our lives that unnecessarily they take because we allow it.
Come on.
And I'm looking from an aspect of sitting up under those people and hearing those loved ones talk about some of the dynamics of what they could do and could not do, and how they persevered through it, and how there wasn't this backlash of help coming to them or changing in their circumstances, for how they had to go through that built them, that created them, that oftentimes gave us the nuggets we needed to even withstand a lot of the things from our generation that we're going through.
Yes.
And it's so sad now because no one wants to sit at the feet of those people no more.
Come on.
They're either pushed about as the seniors who don't know anything, or they're either disregarded as the people who getting in the way of other people living their lives. And yes, if you don't be careful, you'll be treating your grandmother, your great-grandparents, if you have them, like that. And it's a sad thing. I oftentimes tell my own children, because my grandmother is 90-something, and she's still alive. And I tell my children, you have a great-grandmother with a history and a legacy that she can share with you by just sitting there opening your ears. Wow. It's not whether she knows how to do a TikTok reel. It's not whether she has an Instagram account. It's not that she called it Footbook instead of Facebook. It's what she says that is dynamic in the life lessons she's lived and learned that can put you over past anyone else. And we miss those points in times. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy going to see her and just sitting for hours on end. And some of the stories I've heard before, because when they get older, they repeat those things that are stronger to them. Yeah. I've heard it, but each and every time I hear it, I get power from it. I take something from it that moves me from stale to running water. I take something out of it that takes me out of the jungle into the forest. Those kind of things that are powerful, that makes my culture not only be able to be supportive to those that I lead, but also make me to be inclusive to those that I'm growing.
Ooh, I love it.
So those are some of the things that I really think if you would hear those, but we don't have those conversations anymore.
We don't.
We don't have them no more. Everybody's busy.
Everybody, quote unquote, busy. But here's the thing: we do make time for what's important for us. I think
Absolutely.
what I like to say to people now is, how I used to say, how busy my life gets, and I stopped saying it because I'm like, the way my priorities are set up is to do with word I use, right? I have not made time yet for this. So I am holding two things. Number one, I'm reminding myself that you did not choose for this. And that's accountability. And it's also vulnerability. For me to tell someone that I haven't is vulnerability. And accountability is the two-way street now that goes back and say, but if you really want to, then you could. You just have to put it in your list of priorities. So I dream of a world, and I'm actively creating a space, and this is where MM360 comes in, where we get back to building that village, where we get back to encouraging parents, grandparents, and not only because we might, along our journey with 1 million people, meet so many people who don't really have. It's like yesterday, I was speaking to a colleague of mine, and she said she was dealing with a client as she was enrolling him into our program, that he did not have an emergency contact. And I said, he does. And she says, he doesn't. And she said she put herself down as his emergency contact. And I looked at her with tears in her eyes, and she's probably thinking, well, here she knows I'm that person, that humanitarian that wants to help everybody. But I'm also very logistic. Cool, because of my leadership role is to balance both, right? I said, you cannot legally put yourself down as a client's emergency contact. It's null and void, and it's also considered a conflict of interest. So you're going to have to remove that. But here's the thing. If they don't truly have one, then it will have to be the police department. So it's a teachable moment, but I said, why did you feel that you needed to put yourself? She said, think about it. I don't have anyone. I'm an only child. Both my parents died. I live in a state where I don't have any family members here. I don't have an emergency contact myself. I said, well, here's two things. I totally get that because I've been there. Here's the thing. Most people think of an emergency contact to be someone who will bear the cost of something happened to them to show up, and they're thinking of all the things. But I'm pretty sure he's in contact with someone that he can put down that would want to know where he is. Someone. And if he doesn't, then we will have to do the police department. That's the legal side. But I say I get that, and I understand 100% that a lot of times people don't have anyone because of migration, and a migration just means from country to country, state to state. It doesn't even matter. People are just moving about the earth with the advancement of technology and the search for more and success, which is all powerful and all empowering. But we don't understand everything comes with a cost, right, Carl? And we don't count the cost and realize we lose the village that way. So it's with intention, the awareness that when we move from our village of birth or a good connection to be intentional about rebuilding a village. And now I say, Carl, with MM360, we're able to build a village that's global just because we have things like Zoom and Google Meets and WhatsApp. And we were able to create our own community where we can learn and grow and interact with each other without Facebook interacting and having all the ads we had to deal with. And so that is intentionality behind the village, because a youth can listen to this podcast and realize he is studying law in Zambia, he's studying law in Nigeria, and that something's missing. And he could come to you and say, hey, can I have a quick call? You do free calls. Guys, if you go to his website, you can get a free consultation with Carl to get something and then pay for services, because, hey, it's not a free for all. He's got to eat too. But this is why we have this podcast, and all of that builds that village. But how are we taking, as Carl shared in his moment that was pivotal in his personal life, that he tapped into the strength of his seniors. And they, for me, in my journey, Carl, it didn't always look like someone I was genetically related to. Like a lot of times I tell people Oprah Winfrey, Maya Angelou has also been part of the mentorship of Alisa. Not that I study them and what they do. I don't really know. It's the gems they drop that have been life gems that when I was actually having time to watch Oprah's master classes about a decade ago, she brought guests on there that I listened and learned and then got their book and listened to their wisdom and applied it to my life and made the changes because I didn't have money for therapy and coaching. The coaching didn't even exist back when I was quote unquote confused and felt like I was living the most inauthentic life, right? So this is so important. And thank you for reminding us the importance of hashtag the village. And wherever you are, don't go out there. I want you guys to hear this and hear this long spiel I went on here. Don't go out there just seeking someone to pour into your life. A lot of times we look for mentors and coaches and people we can learn from by thinking, well, right, Carl? We go this way.
Yeah.
Show up in people's world and say, how can I help you? Maybe you can help them post on social media. Maybe you can help them edit a video. I don't know what it is. I'll offer something and then see how much value they will want to pour into you. And that's also part, or you become the village leader for someone. You might not be the smartest cookie in the jar that they told you, right? Because that's what people tell us. Oh, you can only be this, you can be only do that. But trust me, there's a younger person or someone who is younger in thought process that needs what you offer, you know? So find someone and you become a villager for them and watch your village in return grow. God will bring people to your life that you need to help you grow, whether it's through challenging you, whether it's through training you, whatever it is a teacher. And if you start looking at life as one big masterclass, change your perspective, right? Carl, you know, I get this conversation's been juicy.
This is juicy. It's covered a lot of the dynamics of which make us who we are. And when we excited about sharing who we are, it become contagious because when you sharing and you're excited about I think I told someone that they wanted to be a coach of mine and they wanted to be they was excited about what I was doing and they wanted to coach me, but they were excited about me and not them. So of course them coaching me was, I won't say a disaster because it was a learning and teaching experience. And it just so happened that I didn't have to pay for this. This was sort of like them wanting to start their business and kind of, get into, but I was a perfect person to start with them. Because from that point they've grown and they've become multifaceted now in so many ways. And I think the power was me flipping the script on get excited about what you're doing, not the individual that you're engaging with. I say, if you're going to be a coach, your excitement has to come from a place that's not them.
Come on.
Mind you,
God,
they need coaching. They need coaching. So if someone needs coaching, they're not at the potential which you may see or which you may know you can draw or bring them to. Right. So you have to be excited about something they can't see.
And something that they might never show you.
Never show you. So you have to tap into that unpluggedness. And to this day, they got 5-figure teachings and and coaching. They had their little programs. And I've been to a couple of things and I did one for them actually in person in Texas. And I did a couple in Zooms for them that they had webinars in Zoom. Yeah. And just something I shared with them to see manifest to that. Is joy for me. Now, I told some other people about that. It's like, man, you ain't get a cut. She ain't give you no royalties. And I said, nah. I say the best movies and the best things that you ever see will be stuff that's shared without you getting any reciprocity.
True. I just learned that what's that lady that used to cook on TV? Not Martha Stewart, the other one. She did that Southern cooking stuff.
Oh, I know.
Paula Dean.
Dean.
I just learned it.
Oh,
That's a legal mess. So we can even pull your legal
yes,
mind on that. But
yes,
that's exploitation, of course.
absolutely,
But just
absolutely.
imagine at the end of the day, that woman's recipe has changed so many lives and kitchens and chefs' work. And she hasn't received anything for it. And I understand the pain. I get it. I am not going to demise that by any means. But it doesn't change the fact that her work is everywhere. And this is why I was grateful to see her coming forward and speak on it. Because no matter how much money was made, now we know who and where the credit truly belongs. And she, for me, is legacy. And I'm gonna seek her out somewhere because sometimes these people are hard to get hold. But I don't think she has because she hasn't gotten the lawsuit yet, so she might not be as big. But I'm gonna seek her out. The reason why is I want to remind her that your legacy would have only been shut up and silenced if you had not come out and have these conversations you're having now. Because that's it. You can't take money with you to the grave.
Yeah.
I can't take none of these clothes with me to the grave. They're going to dress up and try. I already told my family, and my sister told me, then don't put me to be anything for you. I said, listen, y'all could put the body in a bag, wrap it up, throw it overboard because I love to see anyway. But if I find out y'all buy some casket for how much $1,000 and y'all fly me around those 7 seas and y'all buy some $10,000 dress or shoes and put on red, I said, I'm going to choke all of y'all. Because I need that money to go to take the work that I've started further. Don't be wasting that on no dead body. I'm not there. That is my concept. My sister said, then you gonna want to remove me from your will and to take care of stuff because with me and my emotional self, girl, I don't know. I might build a golden casket and fly you to every continent because that's where you belong. I said, you're fired. Thanks for letting me know.
I know, right? Thanks for telling me.
The point I'm making is we take none of this with us, and anything that even someone does after you're gone in remembrance of you is for them. It's not about you at all. But the legacy continues. And so, as you so rightfully say, nobody can't take anything from you. And you were taught that so early by your adults. My question for you, with all the knowledge, wisdom, and practice that you've had in authenticity and vulnerability as an individual, as a leader, what does success means to you now?
Success to me is someone doing what I've laid down. I think if we all do that, like Christians, and I'm not calling myself Christ by no means, so I don't want to offend anyone with what I'm about to say, because it's not meaning that. What it means that Christ did it so well that coming after him, they call themselves Christians, right?
Yeah.
So the very form of flattery that I want for anyone to be successful, it's not about dollars and cents. It's never that about me. Do I need money to eat? Yeah, all of that goes without saying. Okay, yeah. So we don't even have to bring those into equations. You absolutely do.
Basics.
But I want what I've laid for someone to grow in and to take and share. That creates legacy, not my name on a building, not my name in the west wing of a college. That doesn't. What I've done, take what I've done, apply it to you, use it, and grow and go strengthen your brother.
Come on, pay forward.
That's success to me.
Y'all see why he is a part of the tribe called MM360, because the mindset behind it.
That's it.
I tell people a lot of things, having a lot of accolades and honors around the globe is a wonderful thing, but it's only wonderful for me just because I would have impacted to earn them. The moment it becomes about accolades and awards, God's gonna strike me.
That's it.
I don't know about the rest of y'all out in these streets, but for me, I will be struck. Because for me, I don't care, and I really don't. I am grateful, but I couldn't care. This is why young people in our movement would be like, oh my God, she saw my post. Yeah, I saw your post because you matter. I like it just behooves me when they're shocked that I'm messaging them on WhatsApp. I'm like, what? But I mean, it could be because of how much is on my plate. But you got to understand, my legacy is in its individual I get to come into contact with. And so
Absolutely.
I cannot impact you as a person if we work together by sending you a post. And that's the part about, I don't know how, let's just, for example, say Beyonce does it, right? And I think watching her movie, which I did,
Okay.
and seeing her with her team is what let me know somewhat that even her, she knows that she's going to go out and rock the stage,
Mhm.
but she has these connections and she's involved in the details with the people who are creating this production, right? And so it taught me that, yeah, don't matter how big you are, what matters is how the village around you and how you impact people on an individual level. Listening to her, and again, she's no idol of mine at all, so don't walk away saying, oh, Beyonce is one of Elisa's favorites. I think
Mhm.
what it is for me, I learned from everyone. There's
Yes.
lessons everywhere. There's a life, as I say, is a masterclass. And when you're eager to learn, you can learn from anyone. So seeing that, but
Anybody.
for me, legacy and success is being able to sit on this Zoom call when we do, like we had the youth event, and just
Mhm.
sitting there and submitting myself and being able to learn from those young people.
Yes.
That is for me legacy because I get to create the space. I get to create a space where what they bring to the world is not only accepted, it's also implemented and it is given a bigger, larger voice. I mean,
Mhm.
that's an honor. But understanding that is truly what success is, man. And again, there's no wrong answer to that question. So if
No.
success is $5 million for you, that's why I asked the guest, what is success for you now? Because success can add something a little bit more spice and flavor for you in another year, right, Carl?
Yeah, it could. It could. Success for me is the growth of what I'm doing. I mean, I know it may sound superficial to some, right? And I don't have an Instagram out. I don't have an Instagram answer. I don't have I guess 6 steps to 7 figures. I don't have any of those catchy cliches that'll draw your attention in.
We don't need any more.
We don't need it. I mean, everybody is doing that well on their own. And I don't need to be a partaker of that. But what I will say that anytime that you hear anything that I do produce, be a part of, create, choreograph, whatever term in verb you want to use that I'm involved of, is going to be for the moving forward of whoever taking participants in it. So
Yeah.
I'm all about moving the participants, or whether it's me and you stay with me, or it's me, you take from me and you grow.
Yeah.
I don't have, like they say, a dog in a fight. It's not about me saying, oh, it's not even about me sharing and saying, Carl told me that. I don't even want the accolades like that. I'm not built like that. That's not,
Yeah.
you're talking to someone that's been vulnerable all their life, in a vulnerability, able to cut it off, cut it on,
Right.
pour it on like water. I know when to apply it. I don't apply it to people to get people to do things for me. I don't
Right.
use it as a crutch for people to feel certain ways about me.
Come on now.
I use it to empower those who want to be involved with me. So if you're under this undertaking that, he talks about this vulnerable because he wants this and he wants that. I'm not even using it to write books, though I do have one coming out.
Yes. You have to
I
tell
am
us
working
about
on
that.
one.
Yes.
And that's a lot of that is created around experiences and call to actions.
Come on now.
It's not about no researching nobody. It
Nope.
ain't about, and I don't want this to sound cold or harsh. I'm not here to take information from you and tell you how to do better.
Come
I'm
on
really
now.
not. I'm here to give you what I've been through, see what you can grab for it, take it for yourself, and move through your difficulties.
And that is what makes the difference in the lives of people, the
Yes,
practicality. And now
absolutely.
with ChatGTP, anybody can write a book.
All you got to do is write, I want to write such and such about something. They'll print you out 30 chapters.
And
They'll
that
give
will
you
be,
the sub chapters. You
come
go put
on,
that on Amazon, you got a book and
you
charge
got a book.
99 cents.
But how many lives did you change?
None, because it's not yours.
Come on. And
People will
so,
read that and people understand. How you think they know when you're cheating on stuff in their class?
come on now,
How do you think professors know when you didn't write that?
because you can't apply it. There's no
You can.
application in the context of your writing.
That's it. And not only that, it doesn't even look like you.
It doesn't. And energetically, people know.
Absolutely. So you're not fooling anybody. Like my grandmother used to say. She used to say when I was little, she's like, you ain't fooling nobody but yourself. But
Come
as I
on.
got older, She said, "You're not even fooling yourself."
No, you.
So I was like, wow. Because I would just say things to her, plan things. And when I was younger, she'd say, "You ain't fooling nobody but yourself." And I say I like something or I didn't like something. She's like, "You ain't fooling nobody but yourself. I know you don't like it. I know." So as I got older and our conversations created around other things in life and things, and she
Uh-huh.
said, and I said something
You're not
about
even
things.
fooling
She said,
yourself.
"You're not even fooling yourself now. You know better."
Come
So
on.
that's how it is. So when you're doing these things, people can pick up. People have
That's
discernment.
right.
People have intuition. People aren't dumb. God has placed a level of intelligence in all of us. Even
And
the
it,
ones that can't
yes,
speak or can't see can
come
still,
on.
their other senses pick up things that are not right. If you
Yeah,
want to understand something, look at an animal before a storm. If you got a
come on.
pet, watch your cat and dog before a storm.
They know
You
exactly
will
what's
look
going to happen.
outside and it'll be a clear blue sky, and they'll start going crazy. "Well, what's wrong with them?" An hour or so later, here comes a storm. Here comes a tornado. Here comes. They knew it, so you're not really fooling anyone. So the best
Yes,
thing I can say as an alternative, be who you are. It would be
come
so
on.
much fun and so less work.
It is. It is. That's what people, a lot of people say, how do you do all the stuff you do?
It's fun.
I don't think they understand. I'm just being me.
That's it. I couldn't be
And
nobody else. If somebody else saw me
exactly.
doing it different, then that's what it is. I went to a friend of mine, and I know we just going on. We go from story to story. I went to a friend's of mine's
Oh, we got a
church.
two-part episode anyway, so we're good. We
Yes,
already in episode 2. That's the goodness that we got, and that happens every now and then.
yes. It's a joy to discuss and talk and share
Yes,
and share experiences because you get over by church people say by other people's testimony, right? You're empowered by that. You're
that's right.
empowered by sure if you share your story, others will see, yo, that's not just
They can
happening
see
to me.
themselves in it, and that in of itself is vulnerability because again, it opens up these doors that you didn't even know were there.
And that's my number one call to action. When people say, "Oh, what's your call to action?" Or "What you got for your pro?" Or "What you got?" My number one call to action is share your story.
Wow,
Everyone has one.
that's
Share your
right.
story. And when you
That's right.
start seeing the power that your story changes in others, you'll be empowered by the very person you already are.
Exactly. And people might see me now and seeing all I do as a keynote speaker and think, wow, do you understand that I was doing this on the bus in the Walmart with people I didn't know? What I made a commitment to is to not be silent, is to help somebody. And I promise you, when you make a decision to help somebody, the body will drop everywhere and you will have bodies. And God, there's no end to where you're gonna go. As a matter of fact, if Carl and I weren't both vulnerable seekers of truth, light, love, peace, and for me, ultimately abundance, we would not have met. I believe we networked on LinkedIn, and it was shot fire. You see us here, like we've been talking forever because we probably have. It just was a matter of time. And, he's part of the movement as well. And so that movement is part of him and his work. But that's the thing about opening up these walls and just like, you guys have no idea how much being vulnerable was a weakness, seen as a weakness. Well, I didn't even know the word but just culturally, how I was raised, it was where you don't talk about it. And definitely my soul as a child always want to talk about it. I'm always asking what? I said, if God made the heavens and earth, who made God? And so these are the weird questions I had. So you could imagine I'm always in this talking, sharing space, got written up all the time. Well, Alisa talked too much. I was getting 98 and 99% overall, but they always had that she talked too much. I was literally trying to help students while they're teaching and forgetting that half the class don't understand that quickly. So I'm in there trying to help somebody get caught up so they can move along in the class. But, I don't mind. I remember pivoting and saying, well, you know what? I'm going to be like Oprah. I'm going to, and guess what? I didn't intend to have a podcast and none of that, but I just knew I was going to be paid for my words. I said, people will call me from around the world and pay me millions to talk since everyone thinks I talk so much. But somewhere in my adulthood, I shut down on becoming more of the educator, the professor, the teacher, the leader, and forgetting that no one really cares about all this theory. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And people know you care because you opened up in vulnerability. Say, hey, man, I struggle too. So now I start a conversation with anyone and I say my teaching, my training, even my keynote speaking, it's a conversation. Man, look, do you know, remember any time when? We start there. Have you ever, don't just act like y'all. And, when you sit and you hear your adult students come in and say, Dr. Whyte, you're just a powerful being. You got so much going on. But when you're in class, it's like all of us are right here. But then you have so much to pour into it. And I looked at him and I said, son, then I'm doing my job. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it's only my desire to come over and be this person that you can feel like you're getting value from, but you also don't feel like I'm talking down to you, which for me, in some regard, I felt like there was a time not so long ago when I was talking down to people because I wasn't being vulnerable. So the question I have for you, what is next for you? And what kind of mindset do you think you need to have that? And that will be you being a little vulnerable with the general public. But what kind of mindset shift is required for you to achieve that next goal? I know you shared about the book. Maybe it's that, maybe it's something else. You can tell us.
The book is a piece, and the book has been actually an old friend of mine told me to write a book. I was going on 30 years now. So I'm way behind schedule on that, with some of the things. And there's actually two in the making, because I have one that I think will really be a bestseller, not because I've written it, because people are going to be able to relate to it. And it's going to be called Grandmaisms. And it's just going to be a book of quotes of what my grandmother told me from birth, from what I can relate to some of the stuff she shared at her feet, and hearing her talk about. It's going to be quotes and things like that. And that's what the book is going to be fully. It's not going to be a bunch of stories or experiences that I shared. It's just going to be quotes that she told me that has been the strength of building who I am as a person, and who I share through coaching and teaching and learning and training and facilitating, all the other hats that I wear. Those grandmaisms was the foundation of what I share. Even in our conversation today, a lot of those things came from her.
Grandmaisms came up. Yeah.
They came from her. And when I first did my very first workshop, I talked about my grandmother, and I talked about different things. And that was kind of like my icebreaker too. And I talked about her, and I talked about some of the things that some people was like, they were just like, I saw some tear up, and some, it's like, I miss my grandmother, or I miss that. So it's something that will resonate with everyone. If it's not what they said, you can recall something that your grandmother said that matches that. I may have used it in a different dialect or a different ethnicity, because we speak those things different, but what they mean is global. You'll be able to understand that. Yeah. So that's my next thing. And after that, I want to move and grow in the mindset. This 360 has been a godsend in the essence of who we can touch, who we can reach, and who we can share with. It's not so much about what I know, it's what I can learn. Right. And I look forward to that, because I have a mind. I say that's the only time that I let people call me SpongeBob when I'm learning something. Because it's the only time. Because I'm excited about learning from you, whether it's the little nieces that I have that's coming up and telling me so many things in the 2 and 3 and 4-year-old world. Yeah. Up into those that I sit under at the law firms that understand the minuteness of moving through law, with the complexity of understanding that first and foremost, a lot of this is not for you being the African American man. It's for prevention of you. Right. To work in a field that I know everything was really written for me to see on the outside, not for me to be a partaker of on the inside. Yeah. It's so many things that I did, I want to share. It's just, I say, God, give me the time and the grace that I can, because those are things that I do want people to know and grow about me. So when you see me in that nice suit and that bow tie that I have all over everywhere, that's the boldness of me showing you on the outside that I'm just that fierce on the inside.
Come on. I love it. It's one of the most beautiful things when the inside matches the outside. And so we hear it throughout this conversation with you, and we are so grateful, and we honor, the soul of your grandmother, who very much is alive in you.
Grandma hands.
Yes.
I'm actually going to see her next weekend. So
So
that's
she's still
grandma side.
alive?
She's still alive. She's
Oh,
still
that is so
alive.
beautiful.
Yeah, she's still
Awesome.
alive. 90 something, just as spry and just as she'll get around as she used to, but man, ain't nothing like that mind.
Come on.
She can tell you stuff 60, 70 years ago, just as if it happened yesterday.
Wow. I've
So
lost all
yeah.
my grandparents. They're
Yeah,
all
she's the
passed
last
on.
one left. That's why I tell my kids, I say, honor that woman.
They
That's your
need
great
to.
grandmother.
Yeah.
And my kids are adults, grown. So
Yeah,
who
they're,
is
yeah.
grown have a great grandmother still living? I
That
mean,
is a
the odds
blessing.
of that is just a blessing in its own
And
right.
then not just living, but functional.
Functional, right? Not going to
Right?
see her in a wheelchair or things like that. She's functional,
She's
able.
functional mentally and
Hmm.
acute. It's a blessing. And so many, if you all are listening us, no matter what age you are, if you don't have a grandma, get a grandma. I've got grandma.
You don't have to be
I
blood.
don't
Get your
have my
grandma.
biological grandma, but you should see me. And I guess that's all part of my willingness to just grow. I find grandmas around the globe and big sisters and big brothers or whatever, because there's, there are times when I'm literally a whippersnapper and I act like it. And you need
Yes.
that wisdom to tuck in. People would hear me say a lot on the podcast, and my mom said, or I'd write a post, a long post, and like my mom said, my mom was it for me. And it's funny because my mom was raised without her mother. My mom was 4 years old when her mom passed. So she didn't have a mother, but she is everything. And watching her in this age with my almost 14 and 14-year-old niece and an 11-year-old nephew is the biggest thing, to see how she could be so hip and trendy because they're balancing her, but they are also so wise. And then with being Guyanese and they're being first generation Americans, listening to them imitate her accent. And now, as they're older, they can actually plug in the flexibility of having a Guyanese accent and knowing what things mean from our language from Guyana. It's the most beautiful, rich thing. But I say you can give yourself that gift, because here's the thing, guys. Just get up and go visit a home for senior citizens. Why don't you go over there and say, can I come read for the senior citizens? Or can I come tell them about TikTok? Or can tell them how photography works, or whatever it is you want to talk about. And you go there and try to give them a gift and watch how many gifts you will get, grandparents. One of the biggest things with Mindset Mastery 360 is we are going to build and launch our senior department in 2025, where it's going to be not a place for old people, but a place where the wisdom of the more mature and seasoned individuals on the planet can come and impart knowledge and also receive knowledge from the younger generations. And I'm excited about it. I mean, could you imagine? I'm the one with the vision. Might be the first time it's publicly spoke about. People in the movement may have seen it on the list of the visions that we're going to have. I think we're at 33. But if we have 1 million people running around, why can't we just have 500 of them focusing on seniors and the benefit of what they still have while they're breathing? Right?
Mhm.
We don't want people to die like Carl says his kids. You should be over there and honoring her, because it's going to be seasoning for your soul. And so we're waiting for that book. I can feel the warmth just coming out of it, because you said her name so many times that I know that's a hit. So we are going to go into Mindset Bicycle. This has been an extraordinary 2-part episode with you, Carl. And so now I get to step away from the microphone and let you have, 60 to 90 seconds where you share key lessons and takeaways that our listeners and viewers can apply to their own lives and mindset. And just do you, because that's all you're going to do.
That's it.
Here you go.
I tell you, Dr. Alisa, this has been so great. And you've been such a gracious host that I appreciate that. Even your audience for listening and taking the time out to learn more about me, and for me to be able to share some of the inner workings of who I am and the foundation that was laid, that I continue to walk in and that I continue to share with those that come across my path. This is nothing but a joy. But I leave to you today with the call of action And these calls of actions are very simple for you to do. Share your story. It doesn't take you to be on some great mountain, or it doesn't take you to be an influencer for someone to gain insight from your story to change their story. Oftentimes, we don't share the things that we've been through because we are hurt and shamed by them. But they are an encouragement to those who are continually falling themselves in that or finding themselves in that. Actively, if you are a leader, seek feedback. Get an understanding from those you're leading, how you're leading them. They can only enhance your performance, and they only can enhance the growth and connection that you draw from those that you're leading. Those are the ones that you really need to get that feedback for. Admit the mistakes. Admit mistakes. If you continue to sweep it under the rug no longer becomes flat after a while. The dirt continues to pile up and the rug becomes a hump. Admit the mistakes, own them, move forward in them, and learn from them. These are things that I give. Encourage open communication. Always encourage those that's around you or that you participate in or that you lead. Encourage their input. Encourage it, respect it, and honor it. Not necessarily to say that their input is going to change the foundation of what needs to be done, but it's the open ears and their ability to understand that if I come to you, you'll hear what I have to say. And my last one that I always do, and that's one that I found as being a Christian, that's the most honorable of all, lead by example. You be the person that you say you are when you are. Oftentimes we hear a lot of people saying who they are, telling you to do things, and such as my dad, rest his soul, used to tell me as a kid, he said, do as I say, not as I do. And it was cute growing up because he was the father. But as I got to live life, I understood that I will draw more people to the works that I'm doing or the help that I can receive if I lead by example and not just be a talker, but a doer of the things that I hold as values in my life. These are crucial to us growing. They are crucial to us communicating with each other, and they build the honesty that we can move forward in the things that we're trying to accomplish. I just want you to remember those things. And if you need anybody to tell you anything different, tell them to go visit carlshawnwatkins.com. They'll be able to see that the things I say are the things that I do, and what I do, I encourage others to be as well. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Woo! Thank you so much. That is
Thank you.
so absolutely powerful words to the wise. Listen, Carl and I was talking about how this one man says that you can be really smart by learning from other people's mistake, and you can be really wise from learning not to make the same mistake. I'm going to mess that up, but the point is the wisdom that comes from another person, whether it's through their life lessons or their teachings, because when the way Ambassador Carl teaches is from his experience. And I can tell you, there's a lot of great books that have been written, and they're also New York Times bestseller. But Ambassador Carl and I both know that you can pay for anything you want. As long as you got money, you can be on the New York Times magazine. You can get probably even on the Oprah show. You can be everywhere you want to be based on how much money you want to spend and not make an impact in anybody's life. But when you see you teach from a place of authentic learning and growth, man, there's nothing like it, because you will see tangible results that you will never probably see your name in lights for, right? And this is what he gives. So Ambassador Carl, tell us again how to connect with you so that we can keep the listeners and viewers who are tapped in on your message and your voice and your work in contact with you.
Yes, you can contact me. carlshawnwatkins.com is my website. You can go there and you can read about some of the things I do and some of the services that I offer. You can also go on my socials. Carl Shawn Watkins is everywhere. Just go Google me. You'll see it. Carl Shawn Watkins Consultant is my socials for Instagram and Facebook. So you can go on there and check out some of the posts I make, and you will see a mixture of, because my faith is what drives me. So you will see a mixture of my faith being displayed with my works, because faith without works is dead. So you have to incorporate both of them. So you will see my faith right alongside the works that I do. And those are ways that you can connect with me, or you might not even know. I do a lot of post surfing. So if you write something or you say something or you had a message or you had a post that caught my eye, you best believe I made a comment about it. So
Yes, he does. And also, you won't miss him if you're interested in getting a learning. He's going to have a master class coming up in Mindset Mastery 360 Global Movement, which we are both leaders of. We get the honor to serve globally. So if you're tapped in with him, I'm pretty sure in another couple months or so, he will have a date for that event that we're hosting globally. You're going to want to tap into that. So just stay on his website, carlshawnwatkins.com. And that's the hub. I tell people, go to my website, you'll find me somewhere, just Google. But all the info is going to be in the description wherever you're watching and seeing this.
Yes.
Share this with someone else. It is a 2-part episode. So if you catch this episode, you want to back up and go back to the other one and get all the goods. Thank you so much, Ambassador Carl.
I'm humbled to have been here and I enjoy our conversations.
Yes, thank you for hanging in for recording 2 bold episodes, but it was easy peasy.
Easy, right? Easy.
We got
even lose no sleep over there. It's easy.
Come on, right? So again, thank you, listeners, for joining us for another episode of Mindset Mastery Moments. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Leave a review wherever you're watching or seeing this. And remember that vulnerability is not a weakness. It is the strength that comes from within, and that you can transform your leadership and your life. And until next time, stay empowered and keep mastering your mindset. Love, light, peace, and blessings. Bye, guys.
Guys around.